Hi, I'm Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on NewsFeed today. Are these future Olympic gamers? What did we learn from Theresa May's trip to Africa? Spoiler, it has something to do with dancing. Great food at a great price. We'll show you where you can eat top quality for bottom dollar. And the viral video that will haunt your dreams. We're going to play you Baby Shark. Sorry. Top of our newsfeed, eSports. Now, some people have been snippy and snidey about video games since we began shooting pixel asteroids back in 1979. Now, those who don't get gaming say, among other things, they make you dumber, they make you violent, and they make you antisocial, none of which are true. So it's with pleasure I report to the gaming haters that we won. Sorry. Well, games are now more mainstream than ever. Video games are worth more than the movie industry, and they will become an Olympic sport in the future. Their appearance and success at the Asian Games is just the latest step in their rise and rise. As Mario once said, here we go.
How to take it through the Asian Games to a more mainstream main stage. I think that's a very important deal, and also a big step towards being accepted by society and also being accepted by the Olympic movement.
Every time something happens in US and everybody starts blaming the video games. But I think that the bigger picture, obviously, as Kenneth also said, that the bigger problem there is the gun control. It's not all about video games. China, Korea, all these markets, these are actually the leaders for video games. Tell me, one episode which you would have come across wherein, such kind of an episode has ever happened. So I think it's a very wrong perspective.
Let's have a look at some of the other things that caught our eye on social media. France's most famous actor, Gerard Depardieu, has been accused of rape and sexual assault. He denies the allegations. A 22-year-old French actress made the formal complaint to police on Monday. Rich people are modifying their skin in the name of art. These are images of Kim Kardashian and Chrissy Teigen. They're doing it for an exhibition called A Human. It's all part of a marketing campaign ahead of New York Fashion Week by a close friend of the Kardashians called Simon Huck.
Got the areas feeling something evil is lurking. I'm no conspiracy theorist, but something here is afoot.
And Marshall Mathers, aka Eminem, aka Slim Shady, released a surprise album at midnight. It's called Kamikaze, and I've had a listen, and it is way better than anything else he's put out recently. Welcome back, Em. Now, Ms. May has been at it again, showing off her dance skills, this time in Kenya. I don't have much else to say, other than this made us very happy. Britain's Prime Minister Theresa May has been in Africa all week on a three-nation tour. The irony of her going to South Africa, Kenya and Nigeria, begging for business deals and promising money to try and assuage the calamity of Brexit, has not been lost on those with a cursory understanding of the British Empire's legacy in those three countries. And it's been a busy time. Diplomacy and trade talks punctuated by awkward dancing and interviews. Here she is dancing in South Africa. This went viral. Soon after, she had to fend off the brilliant Channel 4 News journalist Michael Crick asking her questions he knew the answers to just to make her squirm. This went viral too.
What did you do to help release Nelson Mandela?
Well, I think what is important is what the United Kingdom did and some of the actions...
What did you do? What did you do? Did you go on protests? Did you get arrested outside the embassy? Did you boycott South African goods? Did you do anything?
I think you know full well that I didn't go on protests, Michael. But what is important is the work that the United Kingdom...
Did you boycott South African goods?
The work that the United Kingdom government did to ensure that it was able to give support where that support was needed, to enable
Mrs. Thatcher believed that Nelson Mandela was a terrorist. Were you a loyal Conservative Party member? Did you think the same thing?
What was important was the support that the UK government was giving at the time.
And now we have her dancing in Kenya. Deals have been signed on every stop of this trip, but her time on the continent will be remembered for throwing shapes and dodging questions. She'll be happy to get back to dear old Blighty. Now, people's remains stolen from Namibia and used for experiments by racist German scientists 100 years ago are finally back in Africa. The pseudoscience of those tests attempted to prove that Europeans were superior to other races. They failed, but the legacy of their attempt forms a large part of the racism we see today.
And German history was born out of a very bad experience and reality.
When I'm looking at this, no one will never know what emotions I'm going through. It's very emotional to us. It's very painful to us.
Today, in view of a resurgent nationalism and populism in the world, in Europe and also here in Germany, it is even more important to take a clear position and admit guilt when it comes to our own past.
The Ugandan politician Robert Kyagulanyi, known as Bobi Wine, was stopped from leaving Uganda for medical treatment. His arrest a few weeks back led to massive protests and a global social media campaign to get him released. These are pictures of that release. Now, reports say that he was mistreated while in prison. He's been very critical of the President Yoweri Museveni, who's been in power for 30 years. Many people in Uganda want a change of leadership. Now, American sanctions on Iran will have a widespread effect, not just on the Iranian economy. Donald Trump's unpopular decision to punish Iran in an attempt to please Israel and Saudi Arabia could result in an Iranian response that would disrupt the world's oil supply.
Tired of high fuel prices? Well, imagine paying even more for fuel, groceries, and housing. The United States has threatened Iran with oil sanctions, and Iran has responded by threatening to block the Strait of Hormuz. On August 27th, Iran claimed it had control of the strait, and if it does block it, high prices could become a reality. 21 miles wide at its narrowest point, the Strait of Hormuz is one of the world's 7 oil transit choke points. It's the biggest and has 1/3 of the world's crude oil passing through it every day. That translates to around 18.5 million barrels, worth around $1 billion a day. Some experts say that Iran would be able to disrupt trade flows and that they don't need a lot of military strength to do it. but others say it would have trouble stopping all trade flows. There have been other attempts and threats by Iran to close the Strait that have failed, and there are many countries who now have warships in the Strait, like the US, Pakistan, Germany, the UAE, and the UK. But even a small-scale disruption would be enough to damage the global economy. And recently, Saudi Arabia suspended crude oil transfers through its Red Sea port, also called the al-Mandab Strait, due to threats from Yemen's Houthis, a rebel group supported by Iran. This has blocked important trade routes for Iran's enemy Israel. And with proxy wars already being fought between the two, the threat of outright war could have a serious impact on the world economy.
All right, around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Friday. Now, Paris put public urinals all over the city recently, and now some have been vandalised. They've been daubed in graffiti, and 2 of them had concrete poured in them. Those who don't like the urinals say they are not only gross, but are emblematic of double standards. Women who breastfeed are told to hide away, but men are encouraged to pee freely. A tiny football club from London has become known around the world because of their choice of a new kit. As you can see, the colours are of the International Brigade who fought the fascists in the Spanish Civil War. The shirt has been so popular, it's sold 2,500. They normally sell just a few hundred. And a blimp of the Mayor of London dressed in a yellow bikini will fly over London for a few hours this weekend. It's been paid for by a group who say crime has risen in the 2 years that Sadiq Khan has been mayor. He's in the yellow bikini because he once promised to remove an ad from the London Tube that had a woman in a yellow bikini with the tagline, "Are you beach body ready?" Some people say the advert body shames women.
Well, if people want to spend their Saturday looking at me wearing a yellow bikini, they're welcome to do so. I don't really think yellow's my colour, though.
Now, if you're anything like me, good food is high on your priority list, maybe too high. So it was pleasing to find out that some of the world's best restaurants are also pretty affordable, depending on where you live.
It's really, I've never heard of a hawker stall winning a Michelin star, but if a stall is going to win it, it's probably going to be in Singapore.
And last up today, I apologise in advance. We're about to play you a song that will be stuck in your head all weekend. This video has over 1.6 billion views. It's from a kids YouTube channel called Ping Fong, and of course it has a dance challenge associated with it, which I'm not going to do. And that is your lot from the NewsFeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions. I'm at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on Twitter, YouTube and Facebook. Follow, subscribe and add. See you again soon.